Hello guys! In this video I'm going to explore the Ultra Greatsword class in Dark Souls 2 and see which Ultra Greatsword is the best in the game. And in general, how do Ultra Greatswords perform in Dark Souls 2 and do they compete with fast weapons? So the universal traits for the Ultra Greatswords are that they have a lot of range, they weigh a ton, and they hit hard, harder than most classes, and also they have the potential of knocking people out of their feet. Thus they have the potential of stun locking any opponent in the game, in PvP. The major reason we don't see these weapons as frequent as other fast weapons is because of course they are very slow, and that is not very user friendly for most people. However, the Ultra Greatsword class and heavy weapons in general have a couple of advantages that people don't fully appreciate or take advantage of. And if you've been watching my videos from my old videos, you will clearly know that Ultra Greatswords is my favorite class in the game. They are the most fun that I play with. I enjoy them the most. This is subjective. The whole video, by the way, is subjective. I'm just trying to draw a conclusion and give you my opinion. But yeah, they're my favorite class and I really love them. And yeah, let's go in first into a couple of important things before we look at the weapons. To equalize the playing field with fast weapons, From Software added a mechanic that is exclusive for heavy weapons, which is amazing, and they fixed that after a couple of patches. That wasn't present in the beginning of the game, but that is poise and hyper armor. Basically, heavy weapons receive a poise boost when they're in the swinging animation, and it's about half the poise you normally receive. That's great, and that is exclusive for heavy weapons, so fast weapons don't have that trait. So let's look at the simple test against an Ice Rapier one-handed and two-handed and Chaos Blade one-handed and two-handed and see how good this is. You win every trade essentially when you have full poise, because poise is a meter if you don't know already. So as you can see in animation here, this is where you get the boost, where you receive half the poise damage. Even with low poise you can get away with a lot of stuff. And also Stone Ring can enhance your opponent's swings, but look, without poise it's just not possible. But you can still poise through stuff when they have Stone Ring, and look what you can do with poise. Ridiculous stuff indeed. Look at this. I'm supposed to be knocked down from the spell and I don't. So this is very important when you're doing a heavy build. Poise is essential. That's why the Ultra Great Weapon builds exceed when they are between SL 200 and 250. It is possible to do an SL 150 if you choose to infuse them and sacrifice a bit of HP and agility. Another argument that fast weapon users use is that we have a fast weapon and we can roll through every attack of your slow dumbass attacks. However, we can also equip a fast weapon, and that is important, guys, to put a fast weapon in your offhand or as a backup weapon, because Ultra Greatswords aren't made to chase people down. So that argument is mute when you have two weapons. You have the strength of the Ultra Greatsword weapons, which is tremendously better and stronger than fast weapons, and you have fast weapons for chasing people down and parrying and also mixing up your moveset so they can never know what you're gonna do next. Is he gonna hit me with the fast weapon or with the slow weapon? So in the end we actually have the advantage because we have the fast weapons and we have the poise to go through their fast weapons, so we can win every trade. That's how you have to go with the build if you want to go with a super effective heavy weapon user build, you know, Ultra Greatsword build. When using the Ultra Greatsword, you have the ability to aim your attacks, which is exclusive for heavy weapons, and they are very useful and they're essential that you have to master them. They're better than automatic aim in my opinion, but they need more skill, so you need to master them to prevent backstabs and to actually hit the target. So this is very important, and to succeed in this aspect you have to know when to lock on and when to lock off your opponent. So you can manually aim. When you're locked on, it works very differently, so know how to play while you're not locked on. This is very important. And also another thing that is very good, especially with other greatswords because of their range, is the jumping attacks. Jumping attacks is beast. Use them, guys, use them. They are very, very good. So let's look at different Ultra Greatswords and their properties and see which one is the best between them. First, we're gonna take a look at the standard Greatsword. This Greatsword is one of the easiest Greatsword to get. and it is mainly a strength weapon. It requires 28 strength and 10 dexterity, and has S scaling in strength and D scaling in dexterity, and weighs 22 units, which is on the high side. But this weapon is strength, pure strength, raw strength. This weapon I think represents strength in the whole game, because this thing will hit hard. And the special things that I like about this weapon is the one-handed moveset, the one-handed R1. They're beautiful, they're guaranteed to hit, and they have, because of the insane range, you can get people out of range, and it does massive damage. With the poise boost, you can almost trade with anyone. The jumping attacks with the range is just superb. It's almost overpowered, the jumping attack. So fast, and it tracks like a beast, guys. Tracks like a beast. I've done a jumping attack that goes like 180 in the air. I'm not joking. It's that good with tracking. So this weapon, raw strength, and it's very easy to get. Let's look at the next Ultra Greatsword. The second Ultra Greatsword we're gonna be looking at is the Zweihander, which is a classic weapon in Dark Souls series. It's been since Dark Souls 1, it's a classic, and I would like to put this weapon and the Ivory King Ultra Greatsword in the same category. The other one just has higher requirements, they have identical movesets, and the Ivory King has also a couple of quirks. But this one overall is more solid and more all around, you know? So this weapon requires 24 strength and 12 dexterity, and has B scaling in strength and C scaling in dexterity. This weapon, what's nice about this weapon, first the moveset and the range and the special R2, that thrusting R2 is amazing. The range is amazing on it. But the thing is, you can do low level builds, or you can do a very effective 150 build with it. Since it has low requirements, you can infuse it and go for vitality and for poise. So this weapon is good for low soul level, and also can be effective all around, even in high SM. And of course it weighs just 12 units, that's why it makes it very good for low level builds. And it's just very good in comboing and doing, you know, it's fluid from all the attacks. It goes from R1 to an R2 fluidly, and it's just all around very solid weapon, which you can get early on in the game. So we're done with this Ultra Greatsword. Let's see the next one. The third Ultra Greatsword we're gonna be looking at is the Drakewing Ultra Greatsword. This Ultra Greatsword is definitely underrated. It's one of the best Ultra Greatswords in the game, and in my opinion, it is the most enjoyable to play with. It's very enjoyable to play with this weapon. It's super fun because of that special attack it has. The first thing, let's say I talk about the stats. You need 20 strength and 18 dexterity to use this weapon, and it has D scaling in strength and B scaling in dexterity. Now this is odd for Ultra Greatsword. This is, I think, the only Ultra Greatsword that is mainly a dexterity weapon, and I don't think that existed in Dark Souls 1. So this is a quirky thing about this weapon. So if you're a dex build, you can put this one with you. It looks good, it has average range, not as long as the other Ultra Greatsword on this list, and it has exactly the same moveset as the Zweihander. However, the R2 attack, the thrust I was talking about with the Zweihander, it's the same, but it has also a special attack that knocks your opponent, like literally knocks them off. And what's amazing about this thing is it stacks. So for example, if I hit the R2 on someone, and hitting the R2 thrust attack and the special attack, they both damages go through. The same as Ice Rapier, you know, when you hit the R2 and it goes with the magic damage, the same thing. And this can be paired with the Leo Ring. Although I'm using a Gape Ring in this build over here in the video, I'm not using a Leo Ring, and it's still one-shotting people almost literally, guys, when you hit both of them. And with PvE, this weapon in PvE is also very good with that R2 heavy attack with Leo Ring counter on the boss. It takes a lot of HP. So this weapon, you should try out the R2. It's very dangerous. And remember, always use something to fasten the R2 special attack, like a running attack or a normal R1. It will make the R2 go faster. So use this to your advantage. And yes, this is the end of this weapon. Let's look at the next one. The fourth weapon we're gonna be looking at is the Fume Ultra Greatsword. And oh boy, this thing hits like a truck. This thing is one of the heaviest damaging weapons in the game. but at the same time it weighs one of the most in the game. It weighs 28 units and requires 40 strength and 30 dexterity, which is very high, and has S scaling in strength and D scaling in dexterity. Other than its enormous damage, it can guard break most people easily in the game, and it can block better than small shield, which is a quirk, and you can also block while attacking on its special L2. So not the heavy attack on the R2, the L2, and one-handed R2 is also blockable. So it has a quirk that no other weapon has, which you can block and attack, and that is something awesome, guys. And I have a review that I did a long time ago. I'll add it in the description or click in the annotation on the screen right now. There are two things I don't like in this weapon. First thing, that you can't initiate a horizontal attack with this weapon. It only has one horizontal attack, which is the second R1 one-handed. And the other thing is it has 110 counter strength, which is different from the 130 norm the Ultra Greatsword has. However, it has more poise damage, which is 60. And it weighs a ton. But all in all, this is raw damage. And yeah, let's look at the next weapon. The fifth weapon we're going to be looking at is the Crypt Black Sword. And this one is one of the heaviest hitting weapons in the game, if not the heaviest hitting weapon in the game. And when it's not infused, this weapon has C scaling in strength, D scaling in dexterity, and A scaling in dark. And it requires 40 strength, 10 dexterity, 12 in faith, and 12 in intelligence. And when it's infused with dark, it has D scaling in strength and dexterity, and has S scaling in dark. Now when you use this weapon and infuse it with dark and then buff it with dark weapon, it will hit like a truck. However, the moveset is limited, and it's much better than its brother, the physical weapon, the King Ultra Greatsword, because the other one for some odd reason has no tracking. And I want you to see a review by the Praise the Sun, which is a top-notch review or strategy for this weapon. Click on the annotation on the screen if you want to watch it, or check in the description to know more in depth about this weapon. And I don't think you'll find a video better than that one about this weapon. And yes, so we're done with this weapon. Let's go to the next one. The last Ultra Greatsword we're going to be looking at is the Smelting Sword. And this one is the better version of the Smelting Sword, because this one scales from one stat, which is intelligent, and the other one scales from 2 stats because it's fire. And it requires 40 strength and 10 dexterity to use, and you need and it has scaling C in strength, D in dexterity, and C in intelligence. This one has a very good two-handed and one-handed movesets, especially on the normal R1s or normal light attacks. They hit hard and they have a lot of range, and you have the 2-hit potential. This weapon works perfectly in low-level builds and high-level builds, and that split damage is much better than you think. And a fully optimized Smelting Sword hits like a fucking truck, but it weighs of course 22 units. So which one is the best Ultra Greatsword? Well, in my opinion, it's the standard Greatsword. Yes guys, I know you didn't expect it, but in my opinion, this one just all around is perfect. It does enormous damage and has one of the best ranges in the game. And by the way, it's my favorite weapon in the whole game, so I might be biased in this aspect, but I truly think it's a monster of a weapon. Anyways guys, the next video might be on best fist weapon or best curved Ultra Greatswords. And please leave in the comment section which one you want to watch next. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and I really appreciate it if you like and subscribe for more videos. And thanks for watching guys. I'll see you on my next video. Bye bye.